Alright class, today we are going to learn about ethics in the business world and how lying and honesty can affect the success of a business. Okay, does anyone know the difference between a lie, bullshit, and a bluff?
A lie is an act with a sharp focus. It is designed to insert a particular falsehood at a specific point in a set or system of beliefs, in order to avoid the consequences.
Very good, Kate. Now who can tell me what bullshit is?
Bullshit is not false, but it is phony. A person who bullshits focus is panoramic rather than particular. They do not limit themselves to inserting a falsehood at a specific point.
Very good, Brian. Now what is bluffing and how do we distinguish bluffing and a lie?
Bluffing is seeking to persuade others to agree with you. Bluffing is different from lying because you are telling part of the truth rather than no truth at all.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, now let's discuss trust in the business world. So class, what makes honesty the best policy?
Trust is what makes the business world possible. Just varieties of strategy, fraud, robbery, and coercion.
Thank you, Brian, that was exactly what I was looking for. Does anyone else have anything to add to the trust topic?
I believe trust is a dynamic aspect of human relationships. It is a central concept of ethics. Trust is created through dialogue, by way of promises and commitments.
Thank you, Kate, that was very insightful. Now who can tell me the different forms of trust and the meaning behind them?
There are 4 forms of trust. They include simple, blind, basic, and authentic trust. Simple trust is naive trust. It is trust as yet unchallenged and unquestioned. Basic trust consists in the sense of physical and emotional security which most of us happily take for granted, which is most blatantly violated and warrant in acts of violence. Authentic trust is trust reflected upon, its risks and vulnerabilities understood, with this trust held in balance. It does not exclude or deny distrust but rather accepts it.
Thank you, Eric, you nailed that one. Now we are going to talk a little bit about secrecy versus privacy. Who can give me a few characteristics about each?
Well, I know that privacy is the condition of being protected from unwanted access by others. It can be either physical access, attention, or access to personal information.
Well, Brian, you're on fire today. Can anyone tell us anything else?
Secrecy is intentional concealment. Secrecy may accompany the most innocent as well as the most lethal acts. It's needed for human survival, yet it enhances every form of abuse.
Wow, Kate, I can really tell you did the reading awesome response. Eric, do you have anything to add to this topic?
Well, I know privacy and secrecy overlap whenever the efforts at such control rely on hiding. Privacy doesn't hide, but secrecy hides far more than what I private.
Well done, Eric. I would like to also add a little bit about lying and secrecy and how they overlap. Lies are part of the arsenal used to guard and to invade secrecy.
Secrecy also allows lies to go undiscovered and to build up.
Wow, I am impressed you know all of this, Brian. Great job. Alright, let's discuss feedback now. Who can tell me what they know regarding feedback?
Feedback requires active listening and careful description of observed behavior. It comes in 2 forms.
These forms include information on a person's behavior, and information on what impact that behavior can have on others.
There are 3 kinds of feedback. They are evaluative, interpretive, and descriptive. Evaluative is observing the other's behavior and responding with one's critique of it.
That's right, Brian. And interpretive is observing behavior and trying to analyze why the person is behaving that way.
Descriptive is observing the behavior and simply feeding back to the person's specific observations without evaluating them but sharing with the person how their behavior affect them.
Well done, you guys. You're on fire. Did you also know that effective feedback takes into account the needs of both the receiver and the giver of the feedback?
Duh. And did you know that negative feedback is misunderstood much more readily than positive feedback, and positive feedback that is too general has little impact?
Well, Brian, maybe you should be teaching this class today. Alright, we are now going to take a chapter quiz. I will ask a question and the first person to answer gets a point. Alright, first question. Who can tell me what deception guilt is?
Deception guilt refers to a feeling about lying, not the legal issue of whether someone is guilty or innocent.
Very good, Eric. 1 point for you. Okay, next question. What are stakes? And what are the two kinds of punishments that are at stake in deceit?
Stakes are the perceived consequences for successful and unsuccessful attempts at deception. The first punishment is the punishment for that lies in store if the lie fails. The second is the punishment for the very act of engaging in deception.
Very good, Kate, and thank you for not standing while speaking this time. Okay, next question. What is the poker analogy?
The poker analogy refers to in both business and poker the ultimate victory that requires intimate knowledge of the rules, insight into the psychology of the other players, a bold front, a considerable amount of self-discipline, and the ability to respond swiftly and effectively to opportunities provided by chance.
Very good, Brian. Okay, everyone is tied at 1 point each. Next question. What is a spin?
A spin is strictly speaking, not lying. It does not involve falsehood. It just imposes a positive or negative way of interpreting the facts.
Very good, Kate, that is another point for you. All right, the next question is, what are the factors that influence how fear of being caught in a lie will be felt?
The first is the liar's beliefs about his target's skill as a lie catcher, and the other is the liar's amount of practice and previous success in lying. Boom. Let's go.
Now play nice, Eric. Okay, next question is, there are two ways that concealment may be betrayed. Name one.
One is there are some signs of the concealed emotion may escape efforts inhibit to mask it. And to rub it in Eric's face, I will tell you the other one. The next is what they called a deception clue, which does not leak the concealed emotion but betrays the likelihood that a lie is being perpetrated. Deception clues occur when only a fragment leaks which is not decipherable, but which does not jibe with the verbal line being maintained by the liar, or when the very effort of having to conceal produces alterations in behavior, and those behavioral alterations do not fit the liar's line. So boom, Eric, take that one.
Now play nice, boys. Okay, since we can't seem to get along, whoever gets the next question wins the game. Alright, what is a relationship?
I know. A relationship is by its very nature ongoing and dynamic, in which one of the central concerns of the relationship itself, its status and dignity, and consequently, the status and identity of each and all of its members. Yes, I win. What now, boys? Girls rule.
Well, you are just as bad as the boys, Kate. That will be enough. Thank you. Sit down now. Thank you. Alright, well, that is all I have for today's lesson, class. Thank you all for participating. I can tell you have really read through chapter 2 and understand the readings.
Thank you for teaching us how to become professional bullshitters. You are the best teacher ever. I will be using this for my weekend activities.